Good morning, my friends. I want to get us started on math today with a quick fraction review. We've already covered fractions, so this is just going to be something you already know, something we just need to think about one more time. I want to start at the top. You have this in your packet, so if you need to push pause and go grab it, go ahead and do that now. But I want to start with you at the top in the box. And this says, these pizzas are the same size. Would you agree with that? I do. They're the same size pizzas. Okay, now the first pizza is cut in this second part, it's cut into 4 equal pieces. So do you know what a good name for each of those pieces would be? If you said fourths, that's correct. Now the second pizza is cut into 8 equal pieces. So what would a good name for each of those pieces be? If you said eighths, that's right. So we have fourths and we have eighths. So I have a couple of questions for you. Looking at these pieces of pizza, this piece right here, remember we said is fourths because, or this is 1/4 because it's been cut into 4 equal pieces. Whereas this piece of pizza right here is called an eighth because it's been cut into 8 equal pieces. Now my questions are, which one has more pieces? Keeping in mind that they started out the same size, but now we cut them into different numbers of pieces. So which one has more? If you says eighths has more pieces, you're exactly right. Because we took the same size pizza and we cut it into 8 pieces. So there are more pieces here. But since I cut it into 8 pieces, that means each piece is smaller. So there are more of these, but the pieces are smaller. So let's think about this. This one actually has less pieces, but what can you tell me about the pieces? That's right, the pieces are bigger. Okay, so more pieces, if I cut the pizza into more pieces, each piece is smaller. If I cut the pizza into less pieces, then each piece is larger. And you can look at that here. You can see the 8 equal pieces, and those pieces are smaller. Here we only see 4 equal pieces, but the pieces are larger. Okay, so the more pieces you cut it into, the smaller the pieces are. The less pieces you cut it into, the bigger the pieces. So here we go. Looking with me at number 1, it says circle the shape that has more equal parts. Put an X on the shape that has larger equal parts. So number 1 is cut like this. And the second part is cut like this. So these, since there are 4 equal parts, a good name for them are fourths. And this one is 2 equal parts. And remember how we talked about in class, we don't call them tooths. That would be too weird. We actually call these halves. So my job is to circle the shape that has more equal parts. So in this case, this one has more equal parts. Put an X on the shape that has larger equal parts. Well, these, since I cut it into less parts, those pieces are larger, so I'm going to put an X on it. I'm going to do the same thing here. I have halves and I have eighths. Halves because there are 2 equal parts, we call those halves. Eighths because there are 8 equal parts, I call those eighths. Which one has more equal parts? That's right, eighths. There are more equal parts. Which parts are larger? Halves, because I only cut it into 2 halves, so I'm going to put an X on it. So the more pieces I cut it into, the smaller those pieces get. The less pieces I cut it into, the larger the pieces are. Noticing how the holes start out the same size. But the more pieces you cut it into, the smaller the piece. So here I am on number 3, where I see fourths and I see eighths. Which one has more equal parts? That's right, eighths. Which one has larger equal parts? Fourths. And finally, I have eighths and fourths. Which one has more equal parts? Eighths. I'm going to put a circle around it. Which parts are larger? Fourths. I'm going to put an X on it. The more parts you cut it into, the smaller the parts. The less parts you cut it into, the larger the parts. Now your job is going to be to complete the back side. But this time, your instructions are the opposite. It says circle the shape that has fewer equal parts. Fewer means less. Put an X on the shape that has smaller equal parts. So that's the opposite of what we were doing on the other side. You'll do that. And then finally down here, Joan is going to draw lines to divide the first square into halves, the second square into fourths, and the third square into eighths. Halves, fourths, eighths. Using that, we're going to answer questions 9 and 10. Go ahead and get started, and I hope you have a great day.